This is everything that you need to know about Zoe's ability. This is going to be an in-depth guide about how Zoe's ability works and how you should position her in order to snipe the enemy carries. If you're more interested in only knowing about the positioning, then here's a short that you can watch. First of all, let's take a look at her ability. Her ability reads, launch a star at a target that deals magic damage. It bounces to the farthest enemy within 4 hexes, then bounces back to the target. This effect repeats 2 times, hitting a different enemy each time. Basically, her ability deals 5 instances of damage. It first hits her target, then bounces to a secondary target, back to her main target, then repeats hitting a secondary target that's not the target that got hit before, and then bounces back to the main target. In total, it hits the main target 3 times and hits 2 different secondary units 1 time each. To better understand the ability, here's a visualization of what 4 hexes away from a unit means. This Mundo is now on the center of the board. These X's indicate units that are 4 hexes away from Mundo. There are 3 main scenarios that can happen with this ability. The first one is that there's only 1 target within 4 range from the initial target. In this scenario, Zoe's ability is going to hit Dr. Mundo, bounce to Twitch, back to Mundo, and then most likely bounce to Cassiopeia or Scion, as both of them are 3 hexes away, and then back to Mundo. Second scenario is when there's more than 1 unit 4 hexes away from the initial target. In this case, Cassiopeia, Twitch, and Mari are all 4 range away from Dr. Mundo. So when Zoe casts, it will hit Dr. Mundo, bounce to one of these 3 targets, bounce back to Dr. Mundo, and then bounce to another one of these 2 targets. From what I've seen, it will always hit the same 2 targets until one of these units dies. So for example, if Zoe casts and it hits Dr. Mundo, bounces to Twitch, bounces back to Dr. Mundo, and then bounces to Cassiopeia. If Zoe were to cast a second or third time with all these units still alive, it will always hit Dr. Mundo, Twitch, Dr. Mundo, Cassiopeia, Dr. Mundo. The order is randomized, so it can hit Dr. Mundo, Cassiopeia, Dr. Mundo, Twitch, Dr. Mundo, or the other way around, but it will always prioritize these 2 units, and from what I've seen, it won't hit Maddie until one of these 3 units dies. Finally, if there's no units within 4 hexes from the main target, then Zoe's ability will hit the main target 5 times instantly. Now I'll go over how to position in order to snipe carries in the corners. If the enemy carry is in the top right corner, then you want to target the enemy in the middle of the board. If Zoe's ability hits Dr. Mundo here, these are the 3 spots that it can target that are 4 hexes away. In most cases, there won't be units in these 2 spots, so this guarantees that the ability will bounce to Twitch. This is in case the enemy is in the top left corner. You want to target the unit that is in this spot. When Zoe casts her ability and hits Dr. Mundo, these are the spots that are eligible for the furthest bounce. Generally, these spots would be empty unless an enemy has a wide front line where they might have like black rows. In those cases, try to narrow your front line more left wide so that these units walk up. As long as there's no units or there's only 1 unit in these spots, you can guarantee a hit onto Twitch here. In addition, if you're ever facing a melee carry, for example, family, you want Zoe's initial target to be their main carry because their ability hits the main target 3 times. Now I'll be going over some clips that showcase the positioning. In this case, I'm trying to target the enemy in the top left corner, so I position Zoe to hit the unit that is 1 left of the center, Ilawi in this case. Her ability bounces from Ilawi to Tristana, back to Ilawi, into Ez, and then back to Ilawi. This happens 3 times. In this clip, I'm targeting the carry in the opposite corner. So I position Zoe to hit the Blitz, which is in the middle of the board, and her ability bounces to Kog'Maw until Kog'Maw dies. It takes 3 casts. Those 2 previous clips were showing how the ability is supposed to work and how it does work, and how you can guarantee to hit the enemy carry. This clip showcases a scenario where the ability doesn't work as it's intended, and it's an interaction that I've seen happen many times. This clip is from BoxBox's stream. As you can see, his Zoe's positioned to hit Mordekaiser, which should hit Silco here. Another viable target is that it can hit Scion. So the way the ability should work is it should bounce from Mordekaiser to Scion, back to Mord, into Silco. The order doesn't matter, it can hit Silco first, but the 2 main units it should hit are Scion and Silco. However, the ability behaves different, and this is something that I've seen happen many times when it's targeting a unit in this spot. Zoe's gonna ult, it's gonna hit Mord, bounce to Scion, bounce back to Mord, and then bounce to Cassiopeia instead of bouncing to Silco. However, the second cast you will see, it's kind of hard to see, but you'll see it bounce to Silco. As you've seen, the first ability hit Scion and Cassiopeia, but the second one did hit Silco. Right here is the instance where it dealt damage to Silco. That is as Scion moved. So generally try to make sure that you don't have any units standing in front of the Scion here, so that this unit always walks up. Finally, this is a clip from Soldier's stream which shows the same interaction. As you can see here, Ilawi is in the center of the board. Zoe is going to first target Ilawi. The way the ability should work is it should bounce between Ilawi, Tristana, and Irelia here, as those are the only two targets that are 4 hexes away. However, you'll see that the ability bounces from Ilawi to Irelia, and then the second bounce hits Singed, and this happens 3 times in a row. Those are the instances that I've seen where the ability behaves different. However, as long as you make sure that there's no unit in the front line that is in this hex, you can guarantee that one of the bounces hits the enemy carries. So just to go over it, if the enemy is positioned in the top right corner, you want to hit the unit in the utmost center, in this position here. You can position Zoe in this spot to guarantee that it hits this unit. And if they're in the top left corner, then you want to position one to the left and target the unit that is one to the left of that. That concludes all that you need to know about positioning to hit the units in the corner. There's one exception, which is kind of a unique case, which I don't think is very practical. But I have found if you position like this, or similar to this, where you force the enemy front line to walk up into these hexes, and then you position your Zoe to target the unit in this hex, then you can guarantee that one of the bounces is going to hit the enemy in the corner on the same side. So you can position your Ilawi and your Zoe on the same side, and as this Nuno walks up and Zoe casts on this Nuno, one of the ults will guarantee hit Twitch. However, this is just a unique case in case the enemy puts their front line in these spots, for example their tankiest unit, or if there's like an Elise or Scion in the middle, which will move after your first cast.